This is what the email says. We must act decisively now to ensure that the company has a strong future ahead of us. That means without me, obviously. We cannot expect the taxpayer to offset salaries indefinitely. So much for furlough then. We must act decisively now to ensure that Jet Air has a strong future and continues connecting Britain with the world. Yada yada blah blah blah. You're jobless now. Sucks to be you. Now fecking do one. Months ago, this was me. On behalf of myself and Jet Air, I'd like to thank you all for flying first class with us today. My name is Kaz. It's been an absolute pleasure to serve you and have a safe journey home. Oh, thank you, Elon. Oh, thank you. Oh, please. Oh, don't be silly. Thank you so much. Thank you. Now can you please all get off the plane so I can start clearing up? When I was a lass, my mum used to repeat the same saying to me like there was no tomorrow. You don't know what you've got until it's gone. Mum, I'd say, there is no saying I hate more than you don't know what you've got until it's gone. One, it's a pointless saying, and two, it's bloody depressing. You don't know what you've got until you actually don't have it anymore. Right. So, let's take you, my audience. Hello, by the way. Thanks for tuning in. Let's say you're watching this little shit show of a Zoom play on a laptop or a telly or in a theatre. Fancy that, wouldn't that be fun? Now, do you really know that you own that television or that laptop, that seat that you're currently sitting in? Do you really know that these things are yours? Do you? Do you really know that that telly is yours? That seat? Do you? Yes? No. No, you don't, because you still have them. You don't know what you've got until it's gone, Kaz. I do, Mum. I do know. How can I not know what I've got? Then my mum died. And I thought, damn, she was right. Know it all. She was always reminding me to appreciate what I had. Whenever I talk about things like the future, she'd say, stop wishing your life away, Kaz. Before you know it, you're going to be in your 40s and cooped up in a kitchen like me. Then I lost something in 2020. And then there's that goddamn phrase ready to hit me in the face again like a whiplash. I lost a job. I lost my job, and my God, I lost it hard. Now, it's 4 a.m. I'm sat in the abyss of lockdown, and I feel like I'm drowning in wasted time. 30 years I put myself into that job. 30 old bloody years of my life gone. stripped away from me, like the clothes that keep a person warm, and the fact that I might have to visit the job centre at the grand old age of 52 makes me really regret not showing up to my O-levels. So, April 2020. Cold pot noodle because I didn't eat my dinner earlier, and all I can think about is jet fucking air. Plain and simple service. Doing what I do best. Flight attending. Hello. I will now demonstrate the safety features on this aircraft, and your attention is essential, as it may be unlike any aircraft you've ever been in before. Take care that your hand baggage does not block the aisles or exits. It must be put under the seat in front of you. Make sure that you put your luggage into the overhead locker carefully. All exits are clearly marked and are being pointed out to you now. If the cabin air supply fails, oxygen will be provided and masks will be dropped down from above. If required, remove the jacket from under your seat and pull on this toggle to inflate. Please do not inflate until you've left the aircraft. Yeah, before you ask, I did have to do the accent at JA. Don't have quite the same effect if you say, "We're plummeted to earth, please prop your life jackets on," in a Yorkshire accent. When I had my first interview, I was 22. I sat down and I said, "Hello," and the man interviewing me went, No, we'll have to change that." Repressing accents, eh? Aren't they fun? I thought I was applying for an airline company, not bloody drama school. It's February 2020. It's a long flight to New York. I've started noticing people wearing these masks a lot more. Tea or coffee, sir? Tea or coffee, sir? This is the hardest part of the job. Turbulence is a bitch. Tea or coffee, sir? On this flight, as on those flights, I'm greeted with the nervous passenger. You know, the one that's got a fear of flying. Apparently, I'm the one to blame for this woman's nervous disposition because she asked me for a film recommendation and I recommended Castaway. Now she's blown into a brown paper bag. I go over. "Listen, love. It's scientifically proven that you are more likely to die in a motorway accident than flying." She says it's the thought of falling into the abyss that she don't like. How 1 minute you can be gliding through time and space and then an engine cuts out and you fall. And you fall. And you fall, and no matter how hard you prepare yourself for impact, you can't prepare to fall flat on your face. Not yet. I think she's being a bit dramatic. Well, I get her now, obviously. Now that I'm jobless and falling through the abyss. Tea or coffee, madam? I'm gonna lose my job. I'm gonna lose my job. He tells me to stop being dramatic. But I know. You know when something bad's about to happen, but it hasn't actually happened yet? That's how I'm feeling right now. This morning, JA have sent me a blank cheque. Although it's not really a check, it's more of a booklet that says, Our Future, written on it. This is a slightly ironic title, I find, because Our Future basically translates to Our Future without you. Because of the virus, well, JA is saying that it's because of the virus, but we all know that this country is run by a bunch of greedy bastards. They want rid of 12,000 of us. Oh, they're giving every staff member 2 options. Option 1, they double my hours and slash me pay by 50%, which puts me, a 52-year-old mother, on minimum wage. Option 2, I take voluntary redundancy and I get 10,000 for 30 years of work. Not a joke, just a fact. Oh, everyone knows who the company's run by, don't they? Mine are run by twats. Old, rich, white men. So, twats. Oh no, a pandemic. Oh, what a shame. Oh, that means we'll have to cut staff, even though we could furlough our staff until 2024 with that profit that we make. Not a joke, just a fact. And they'll take any opportunity to cut staff. And they'll start with the oldies, of course, which means me, obviously. It's a shame, really. What will we do? Glenn's my husband. The name Glenn actually sums up his personality pretty well. Glenn. I should have known really before I married a man called Glenn. I weren't exactly expecting a thrilling life with a man called Glenn, was I? Oh, I'm stressed. Now, I'm not a stress ed, no, but I am stressed. I've had that job for 30 years, 5 more years till I could have bloody retired. What do I do? Keep the job that with the contract that's now impossible to keep, or become redundant in a global pandemic. Oh, I'm actually struggling to decide which one's worse. I decide to wait and hear from a union, see what they say. Everybody should be part of a union. They'll be fighting for my job, just you wait. My friends come over, they sip their teas and they nod their heads. Yeah, Kaz, it must be terrible. Oh, it must be awful, but you'll be fine. What are they going to do? Just get rid of you? Yeah. Yeah. The next day I'm even more stressed. I would have cherished the chance to at least have slept on the decision, but unfortunately I didn't get that much sleep last night. Glenn, what are we going to do? What can we do? How are we going to bring money in? Glenn, you don't know. He suggests me mum's savings. Cheeky prick. Recently we watched Breaking Bad together, so he suggests that we actually try and cook crystal meth. Glenn likes to think he's a lot funnier than he actually is. Classic man. I do think about my mum's savings. I suppose savings are there for times of emergencies like this, but, well, I've started thinking about my mum a lot more recently. Don't know why. I suppose I've got the time to think. Well, we all have, haven't we? It's funny how random people who you haven't spoken to in years can just like suddenly start occupying your mind rent-free. I look at the current state of the world and I'm thankful that my mother ain't around to see it anymore. She was always so proud of me for becoming a flight attendant. Well, Kaz, you did pretty diabolically in school, but I always knew you had the makings of a great flight attendant. I wish she was here. I could use some bloody advice. It suddenly occurs to me that I'm actually going to really miss my old job. No, it isn't just that. I'm going to miss the part of me that came with it. I don't know what part of me I've been left with, but I've got a bit of rebuilding to do. I loved my job. Granted, there were some times when it pissed me off. Women's Weekly. Women's Weekly, sir. It's my last flight ever with JA. Although, I don't know that at the time. People always ask me, what do you do when you get to your locations? Do you go shopping? Sightseeing? I sleep. Fucking jet lag follows me around like plague. Women's Weekly, madam. There's a man sat eating pretzels that catches my attention. That's another thing people ask me. Do you meet any famous people on your flights? Yeah, obviously. I reply, I think they're expecting me to list off all these crappy C-list celebrities who only make money by going on pointless celebrities and then no one really remembers what they did in the first place. Nelson Mandela. He had the vegetarian option. Emma Thompson. She ate peanuts. Hugh Jackman. He watched Toy Story 3 on flight. Gary Barlow. Bless him. He was such a loud snorer. Gordon Ramsay. He actually liked the chicken tikka that I served him. Unfortunately, the celebrity that was on my last ever flight with Jay is one of those celebrities that introduces himself, aren't you? Don't you know who I am? He says, half jokingly, half serious. And I do know, actually. He's the clever fat guy off The Chase. I don't say that to his face, though. The youth, he says, leaning back in his business class chair. They call me the Beast. But you can call me Mark. We get chatting actually about he's quite a clever bloke, how he went to Oxford and now he's on telly, and then he politely reminds me that he'd like me to wake him up for me breakfast next morning. After the flight, I tell Caitlin, who I've just met, and you know what? She's a lot more excited than I was. Well, I told him he went to York Uni. She's embarrassed by that. Why am I not allowed to brag about my daughter's achievements? No, I didn't tell him that you do a drama degree, thank you very much. Caitlin then tells me that 2 people at her uni have caught this virus. Well, that's not ideal, is it, love? But don't blow things out of proportion now. You know what you like. I'll speak to you soon. Two months later, Caitlin's on the phone again. This time it's for a different reason. Glenn's getting angry with her. Glenn's one of those men that likes getting angry, unsatisfied men in the 50s, aren't they hilarious? Glenn, that's enough. Give phone to me. She don't want to come home for the lockdown. Well, she does, but all of her flatmates are staying at uni and therefore she wants to stay at uni. I thought you didn't like your flatmates, Caitlin. You said yourself all they do is ditch you in clubs and then make you pay for Uber home. Well, then you shouldn't have signed a house with them for next year. You said yourself, get on with your course mates more. Mum, she says, they're fine. But I know in the past that she's not been so keen. And now she's thinking about splendid bloody lockdown with him. Caitlin, your father and I want you here. Please don't leave me with just your dad, for heaven's sake. But she's insistent. She wants to stay in York because all of her flatmates are staying in York and she doesn't want to feel left out. And that's important to her because she's living with these people next year in some shitty 8-bedroomed house. I look back at this white-haired buffoon on telly. Yes, that's a great question, Laura. I'm going to let Professor Whitty answer that one for you. And now I'll be taking, me and my colleagues will continue to answer any questions that you might have. It's big news, this lockdown. I can feel this life of mine changing. Like when you can feel the earth crumbling beneath your feet. Glenn! I might make some banana bread. Okay.
There you go. Are you going to put anything on it? Are you going to breadcrumb it up? Yeah, look, I've got it here. Oh, yeah, so I'm going to take another one of those, roughly about the same size. You can control.
Glenn!
For instance, if you want slightly
Ainsley Harriet, son!
The kids. Why do you make them fat? Well, they just...
It's crab salad!
Yeah, so everything's cooked in there. So really, all you're going to do is kind of get those on, palette nice and really
okay.
Good, absolute lovely shape. And see.
Glenn? Shall we go for a walk? Okay. Glenn? Shall I make some gingerbread, man? You're gonna have to give me some new fucking suggestions then, aren't you?
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high. Don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm, there's a golden sky. Soon to the storm of the dark. When you walk through a storm, hold your
Glenn? Come watch news with me. There's this heartwarming story about this old bloke walking around his garden with a Zimmer frame.
At the end of the storm, there's a golden sky.
Okay.
And the streets sing the song of the dark.
You know, I haven't cried this hard since Barry Chuckle died. What do the stages go like? Anger, denial, upset, something like that. Glenn tells me that we'll be alright financially. I tell him that's not true. He doesn't say anything. Loser. I took option 2. I said that I'd listened to the unions, but you know, they're just as bloody confused as everyone else is. Do you know, I must have done hundreds of flights for JA. Thousands. Driving down from Yorkshire to the airport at stupid hours in the evening, 4 times a month. Not once was I late. Not once did I spill coffee on a passenger. No, ma'am, not once did I accidentally give a vegetarian one of the meat options. I worked my arse off for 30 years. I put my heart and soul into that job. feel defeated. I have no energy to start looking for another job. I don't even have a CV. Oh, or maybe I am being dramatic, because this is having a bigger impact on others. But they said that I was being furloughed. I got the email. They said that they'd fight to keep every single job, and that took the biggest weight off of my shoulders, you know. Oh, but I should have known not to trust them. I should have known that was bullshit, because I know that multi-millionaire companies will piss on your leg and then tell you that it's raining. They sent me another flowery email today. Basically said that I needed to send my uniform back. You'd think that they'd at least let me keep my uniform, wouldn't you? I always wore that uniform with pride. The CEO's on NBC. He's the chief, the big boss. He said something along the lines of this being deeply regrettable, but these were exceptional times and jobs, you know, jobs must unfortunately be sacrificed. Oh, bless him. I bet this has been dead hard on him. You know he's believable as well. There's crocodile tears at the airport tonight, lads. I know he's delighted by this. I know that this virus is the best thing to have ever bloody happened to them. To him and, you know, any other greedy businessman alike. He can get rid of me like a kid that stands on a colony of ants and gets a real thrill out of it. Outside there's a fox raiding our bins. He's not wearing a suit or smiling for cameras, but you know, at least he's trying not to hide the fact that he's fecking stealing from me. I watched the fox run away down the street with my garbage. Oh, you bastard, give me that back! I want to scream after him. But what can I do? I can't go running after a fox shouting, "Aye, he's stealing from me!" Because there's a lockdown on, the world's been switched off like a lamp. I asked Glenn if he wants to make some banana bread. But he's got other ideas. You know, I can't quite believe this is the same man as my husband, but Glenn says now ain't the time for feeling sorry for ourselves. We are going to write you the best CV in the world, he says. It's happened. Right? It's happened. But we've now got all the time in the world to write you that CV and make sure you come out of lockdown with a job waiting for you at the end. Right, he's not exactly giving me friends, Romans, countrymen, but then again, my husband's called Glenn, not Marcus Antonius. Come on, Kaz, he says now, standing up theatrically. You are the woman that I married. Oh, fucking hell, I'm thinking. You know, I care. It's a real shame that you've lost your job, but I can help you get back on your feet. Let's start by, well, by logging in to Indeed.com. Poetry, Glenn, fucking poetry. To be fair to him, you know, his rusty "I have a dream" speech is enough to get me out of bed the next morning with a surge of determination coursing through me. So, our living room floor's now covered in paper. Drafts of a CV everywhere. Education to the left, flowing into work experience, hobbies and interests, and life experience. Glenn is adamant that everything I've ever done, everything I've ever participated in needs to go down in this CV, right? Right. Education. O levels, straight E's. Good start. But then at the end of the day, Glenn comes down to living room with an announcement to make. Oh, have you found me a job? Unfortunately, you can't be too optimistic with Glenn. He says he's signed me on to an adult education course to resit my O levels. Why am I resitting my O levels, Glenn? Apparently, it's crucial for a woman like me to have decent O levels if she wants to enter the job market in these uncertain times. I suppose it's something to do, isn't it? Back to the CV. I apply for this job. I apply for that one. Anything I can get in the abyss of Indeed.com I apply for, and then I wait. And time moves on. I'm not exactly waiting for a job to knock on my door, but I do begin to wonder if I'll even hear back from any of them. But if you, my lovely audience, have ever experienced the trials and tribulations of job hunting, it's probably no spoiler to you that I don't hear back from any of them. Not a fucking one. With April comes this. We regret to inform you, due to the high volume of applicants, you've made our decision very difficult. Oh, how flattering. We are unable to take your application and for... You get the gist. You've probably all seen it at some point in your lives. It's not a great feeling. Glenn says it's because I don't have any O levels. I tell him to do one. Hello? Yeah, that's great. I accept. Brilliant. Thanks. When do you want me to start? Okay, see you tomorrow. Hi there. You come for a test? You just go down that road and then the exits are to your right. Have a good one. Good luck. Hope you don't have it. It's my first day at this COVID test centre. Yeah. That's where I work now. Although it is quite apparent that I'm still in my flight attendant ways. If you test positive, the exit's to your right. And if you test negative, the exits are this way. Yeah, a COVID test centre. Although, in reality, I'm stood in a freezing cold car park on a Friday, shivering my tits off. You know, it's a temporary job that's I've landed. I mean, this job goes when the pandemic's over. Whenever that is. You know, it's quite funny because it was COVID that took me out of my job, and now it's COVID that could potentially keep me in my job. Actually, it's not that funny. This is more work than a job. You know, everyone here is in the same boat. Jobless. My boss, Steve, he used to run a pub. My dad used to drink in there actually sometimes. The Last Ship, it was called. Although Steve says that the pub was sinking way before COVID, and now the virus has sort of finished him off, really. There was Ricky over there. He used to be a DJ, but he reckons that he'll be in a wheelchair before the nightclubs even reopen. Baz is a lovely fella. He's in his 60s. You know, and I thought being made redundant at 52 were bad. God, you know times must be tough when you're finding comfort in the fact that someone is far worse off than you. I don't know what Baz used to do, actually. All I know is that his boss sent him via text that he weren't going to get furloughed over lockdown, so they were essentially just getting rid of him. At least I got an email. Ooh. At every one of these test centres we get 2 security guards. Ours are Michael and Ron. Michael used to be a bouncer at all of the nightlife venues, but now that nightlife's life support's been cut off, he's working here. The girl who's on shift with me today her name's Hannah. She's a philosophy student at a uni called Summit Beckett, something like that. And to be honest with you, I've seen more philosophy in a slice of bread. She's got the most miserable face I think I've ever seen in a young person. But then again, being a young person in 2020 is probably a disappointing experience. I ask her if she knows anything about Ron, one of our security guards. Ron, she replies, he's just got out of prison. Thrilling, I think. You know what? I'm all for like prisoner rehabilitation and stuff, but you know, it doesn't exactly fill me with like the greatest amount of confidence knowing I'm working with people who have, you know, done time. What was he in for? I ask. We're gossiping now because no cars are turned up and not many people seem to care about COVID at the moment, you know. Thanks to Rishi Sunak, everyone's at Nando's getting half-price chicken. And then Anna says in the most unenthusiastic voice possible, he murdered his mum. I'm actually incredulous. He murdered his mum. Our security guard. Yeah, but he says that his job's like already making him a better person. Well, I know every cloud's got a silver lining, but good God, if my daughter had murdered me, I'd be well pissed off. Hannah finds the fact that he's here unremarkable. You know, like, I had COVID back in March, announces Hannah with about as much enthusiasm as Matt Hancock praising the NHS. Oh, how was that? I ask. She shrugs. Others had it a lot worse than me, really. I was dead lucky. She then tells me that all of her flatmates got it as well, and then they absolutely drove each other insane because they all had to, you know, self-isolate together. I ended up shagging one of my flatmates. That's how bad it got. Well, why did you shag him if you had COVID? Surely that's unfair on him. Oh no, it's fine. He had it as well, so like it doesn't really matter. I haven't got COVID anymore. Just chlamydia. I worry for the younger generation. This is how I spend my nights now. A barista at Costa Coffee comes up on Indeed. I hate coffee, but I hate being jobless even more, so coffee it is. Copy and paste the generic cover letter. I'm passionate, I'm dedicated, I'd love to join your team, I get a thrill out of teamwork, you know, all the bullshit. Of course it's pointless. I saw an article today saying that 10,000 people had applied for the same job at a Pret-a-Manger. 10,000? Oh, I love feeling sorry for myself, isn't it great? A job comes up for a bin man, and I actually consider applying when I come across another advertisement. A local college are looking for a full-time staff member to teach the level 3 BTEC course in flight attending. There's a BTEC in flight attending. I tell Caitlin. She says there's a BTEC in everything these days. I ask her if I should go for it. Are you mad? She replies in block capitals. You'd be mad as a box of frogs not to. And I know she's right. I could do this. This is a job that I could actually do. Teaching flight attendant at a college on my doorstep. Granted, I've always hated the thought of being a teacher, but bloody hell, how can I not apply for this? So I'm on it. I'm up day and night working. Everything I learnt at JA goes into this damn application. Every problem that I encountered on those jumbo jets doesn't go amiss. Glenn brings me to. He reads my application for me over and over again, and for the first time in my life, his spelling and grammar's pristine. And I tell you now, if 10,000 people apply for this job as well, and they can bloody do one, because this job is mine. I don't want it. I need it. I feel like it's mine before I've even got it. Then I come to the technical questions on this application. This is where it gets problematic. Education. Now I regret not doing that O-level resit course that Glenn signed me up for. Mind, I don't actually regret not showing up to me O-levels, because that music festival that I went to with my older sister was pretty good. There's a box asking me what my most recent qualification is. I scratch my head and realise it's the hairdressing certificate that I got when I was 18. Glenn says they mean like a degree. I haven't got a degree. I tell him, you ain't got a degree. Who do you know our age that's got a degree? And then it dawns on me. They want me to have a degree. Who gives a knack if I can cut hair or not? But a degree is irrelevant in my context. Surely they want a flight attendant. After all, I work for Jet Air. I flew. And I served for 30 years. Jumbo jets, Concords, business class with plasma screen TVs, peasant class with babies that cry for the entirety of the flight. I worked on them all. I answer these questions till I can't write anymore. I send. I go to bed confident. I go to bed happy. I get my rejection email next day. It's an automatic one. Apparently, BA Hons in hairdressing isn't good enough. They rule me out automatically because I don't have a degree. Another girl ends up getting the job. She's 24. Worked for TUI before they started laying off people. No experience in flight attending. She got it because she had a degree in fucking sociology. But I know that I could never have done it anyway. Because I'm not a teacher. only know one thing, and one thing only, and that's flight attendant. That's all I've ever known. I am my bloody job. Well, I was my job. Or at least, my job was me. It's 5 AM. A receptionist for Travelodge comes up. Nights, 0 hours. I hate the thought of 0 hours, and boy, do I hate Travelodge. But I hate the thought of being jobless even more, so I apply.
Caitlin. Well, what? Caitlin. Look, if you really hate it, then just come home. Big deal if you've paid rent. Your father and I haven't seen you since March. We miss you. I miss you. Well, if you hate it then, you hate your flatmates, then why don't you just come home? You've got your dad's income, and you know, I've got my little temporary job now. No, I didn't get a teaching job. I'll come pick you up tomorrow. Oh, who's gonna arrest me on the M62? She's been in the car 5 minutes and she's already told me that she wants to drop out of uni. I think it's the drama degree. You know, I say, desperately trying to think of an excuse. I really don't think it's the degree for you. How about medicine? She says that's it, she's decided. Apparently she had her doubts before COVID, but now the virus has come along and it's really been the straw on the camel's back. She says she gets on better with the silverfish in her flat than her actual flatmates. I remind her that she can't drop out of uni because somewhere there's a contract for a house with her signature on it. She's quiet. It sounds so easy, doesn't it? I'm dropping out of uni. She says it with such ease. Like she's forgotten just how hard she worked to get to uni in the first place. No, but then I'm thinking about it, about her, and about that job that I didn't get because I didn't have a bloody degree. You think you're dropping out of uni, young lady? The absolute cheek of it. There is a global pandemic happening and you are considering dropping out of an honorary degree? I think not. She protests, of course. She just didn't think it would be the way it's been. But I'm concentrating on the road. It's dark and it's raining. I didn't realise it had gotten this bad for her. But I'll help her find her feet again. Now that life's thrown things at both of us. When we get home, I light a fire. It's nice to have her back.
First exit on your right. This morning at the briefing, there's a new woman. My boss, Steve, introduces her as Lorraine. And immediately I'm not keen. I don't trust women with generic mum names. Lorraine, Louise, Sue. You know, I'm not particularly keen on my boss Steve either. He keeps comparing COVID to the Second World War. Every time we usher one of the cars through, he goes, "Well done, ladies, we're digging for Britain, aren't we?" Or when someone leaves and gets a negative test result, he goes, "Well done, everybody, doing our bit for the effort." Steve, I'm thinking, where are the bombs? Fighting a virus here, not bloody fascism. Hannah, the student, you know, the one that banged all her flatmates and then they all got COVID. She comes up to me. She tells me that her brother's just got an engineering apprenticeship at JA. Like, that's what I want to hear right now. It's good that they get, like, all these companies are giving, like, all these young people good, like, opportunities. I'd slap her if she weren't 20. You know, I really do. I feel awful. It must be terrible for you, Kaz. You know, I mean, I sit in, like, my philosophy on my fucking Zoom meetings, but, like, you know, like, my philosophy. But, like, it's something to do, innit? You know. Anyways, I sent you that link to that job application. You know, the one that I saw on Facebook. It's for a registrar. You know, like a registrar, like a person that, like, enters weddings and stuff. And I just thought you could take a look at it. Anyway, I'm off. I'm on my lunch break. I watch her walk away. He's pissing it down. My hands are soft and cold and my coat pockets aren't that warm. A registrar. Something quite appealing sounding about that. A registrar. Sounds like a job. A registrar. Sounds like a job I could do. Oh, what do you do for a living? Oh, well, I'm a registrar. Not I stand in a car park and usher people around in a test centre in an unused car park. A registrar. I apply that night. And I get the interview and all. I know, right? My chances aren't bad for this one and all. They get back to me 2 hours after I sent my application in. They want me. I can feel it. They want me. So don't fuck it up, Kaz. The interview is in Leeds. You know, all the most important things that happen in Yorkshire happen in Leeds. I asked Caitlin if she fancies coming with me so she can peruse the city whilst I'm in interview. Hello there. Lovely to meet you. The woman doing the interview says that we're going to be doing a cabin of writing exercises. I can do that. Writing, been writing me all life. No hairdressing certificate or sociology degree needed. She hands me a fountain pen. Apparently this is what registrars use. I'm given a piece of text that I need to try and transfer to the template of a birth certificate, but the text has spelling mistakes, which I need to identify and correct them. How hard can that be?
In car, Caitlin dumps a load of Victoria's Secret. Went back and asked me how it went. When the lady pointed out to me that I'd actually missed half of the spelling mistakes, I exclaimed quickly, well, I'm actually resitting me O-level English, so that shouldn't be a problem if you give me the job. My God, it went bad! There was not one good thing about that interview. So fucking upset! Just I tried so fucking hard! And she had a pencil skirt on and it was shit, it wasn't even good colour. Fucking horrible! And the fucking quill of our fucking face! But I tell Caitlin that it went well. She's had a nice day after all. On the way home, Caitlin suggests that we stop at one of them garden centres now that Bojo has reopened them. At the garden centre, they've got this impossible to follow one-way system going on. And honestly, I feel like I'm playing Pac-Man, with a dozen OAPs scuttling round, carrying a bunch of potted ferns and plants and tulips. We're pushing one of those massive trolleys, desperately trying not to collide with everyone else. I'm sorry, trying to keep to this 2-metre rule. But, you know, it's proving quite difficult with a load of potted plants in my hands. We buy a couple, but most of them have gone brown, sitting idle over lockdown. Then Caitlin points out a little tree. A blossom tree stood on its own in the corner of the garden. Nice, that tree, she says. It's like that one outside of Nana and Grandad's old home. I'm in the car with my mum, like I am now with my daughter, driving home from Leeds. We're driving together down the old childhood road and there's this blossom tree on the corner of the street. Oh, look, Kaz. Look how beautiful that blossom tree is. Such a marvellous colour. My mum would comment on that tree every single bloody time we drove past it. Oh, it gets more beautiful every day. Or like in the winter, comments like, oh, not long now until that tree will be pink again. Just you wait. Always repeating herself, my mum. It drove me mad. Well, you know, Kaz, she'd say, the things that you're annoyed by today, they may one day be the thing that you miss. If you don't stop to acknowledge the beauty in life, then you'll probably end up missing it. Blossom tree this, blossom tree that. Like a broken record, my mum. I suppose it made the Alzheimer's quite difficult to spot early on, not gonna lie. Shall we buy that tree? Caitlin asked me. The new woman, Lorraine, comes and stands next to me today. Now, I told you I don't usually trust women called Lorraine, but you know, she seems nice, so give her a chance. How come you're working here then? I ask her. Everybody asks someone new that. It's like at a prison when you ask an inmate, what are you in for? She tells me that she was a florist. She set up her own shop 1 month before the pandemic hit and how she ain't entitled to furlough, so the government really just cast her out to crows. She asked me about me, and I tell her all about JA and me loathing for those greedy CEO bastards. We've got a lot in common, actually. We could talk for hours, and honestly, I could go on talking for hours more. We've both got daughters at uni. Both like Bake Off, dogs. Steve writes Sunday love songs, and then we quickly turn the radio off once it gets to Elaine Page. Well, actually, we've not got that much in common, but we're both middle-aged mothers that have had shit things happen to us in 2020. She asked me if I'd like to go out for coffee with her. Oh, yeah. You know, it feels so weird talking to a stranger. This is the year to completely avoid your loved ones, and it just feels weird getting to know someone new. At the coffee shop we sit down together, just a little one nearby. So, tell me all about JA. I want to know about all the places that you've been. Oh, well, oh, you know, I say making that kind of shy conversation because I don't know her all that well. I don't really know where to begin. I don't particularly want to talk about my old job. I'm a bit worried that, well, 30 years that I spent globetrotting, I'm a bit worried that I'll get a bit too nostalgic. But I decide to tell her some stories anyway. I'm at the airport now, Terminal 5, departures board. People are scuttling around like mad, left, right and centres. Families, businessmen, children with their little suitcases. Oh. As our pilots run an hour of looking very handsome in their pilot's uniforms. I'm looking at the departures board, waiting to see where it'll take me. Some days I go to South America, or I'll spend like a weekend in Africa, and I always hope that it'll take me to my favourite place on the planet, San Francisco. My first flight with Jay, I go to Delhi. I show me dad my uniform, look, it's got a little plane on it. And I kiss me mum goodbye. Make sure you take lots of photos. Come on, my dad jokes. Will you send us a postcard, Dad? It's going to be work, you plonker. I'm not bloody on holiday. I get into my little Kia and I toddle off down to the airport. 48 hours later, I'm in India. And I get off the plane and the heat! Oh my God! It absolutely hits me like a ton of bricks. But oh my God, is it gorgeous. Selfie. Oh. Our hotel is massive. It's huge, big, white building with with pillars up to the ceilings, and the floors polished and marbly, and yeah, you see my reflection in it. The air's dead cool, and the receptionists are lovely, and everyone in this hotel lobby is staring at us. The group of glamorous flight attendants. So we decide to explore. We decide to explore India. We're like kids in a playground. I mean, we're jet-lagged to buggery. We're sleep-deprived, but we are in India. And the world is our oyster. We hire one of them tuk-tuks. And oh my God, it's terrifying. But oh my God, it's so fun. The cars, there's traffic all this way and pedestrians just walk out. Just walk out into the middle of the road. There's a donkey pulling a car right next to us. Oh my God! And suddenly, I feel stupid to ever think that I ever knew the world. The culture, The culture shock just courses through me, and it's brilliant. You know, that's when I realised that this isn't just a job. This is a lifestyle. I get paid to travel the world. I get to see sights that people could only dream of seeing or regret seeing. On the corner of the street there's these 3 raggedy looking children sat round a campfire. The oldest one's got a baby in his hands. I want to go up to them and ask them where their mums are. But I get the feeling they don't know. The warm Delhi evening air gets chilly suddenly. And you know, I have mixed feelings about India from that day on. 5 years later, I'm back at the departures board, seeing where it's going to take me. Oh! I get Saudi Arabia. On the calls with my mum, she says that you're going to need to buy an headscarf or else you could end up in jail. Huh. When I get there, I FaceTime Caitlin and I FaceTime Glenn from the hotel balcony. Yeah, the evening heat, oh my god, it's mad. It's stagnant, like it's suspended in the air, and the calming sounds of the city are just lulling me right to sleep. I get talking to Caitlin and we're just chatting about, you know, what we usually would chat about. Do you want me to bring you anything back from here? Anything? I ask her what shitty meals Glenn's probably cooking for her tea, and hold on. Outside there's a man stood on the ground floor looking right up at my balcony. Hang on. He's glaring at me. Really, really glaring at me. And that's when I realised that I've got nothing on my face. I get back into the hotel and I tell Caitlin, I apologise. I'm sorry, love. I've just had to go because I've just made eye contact with a man. It's 2019. I get to the departures board, I check in. I'm going to San Fran. Never gonna contain my excitement when I get sent there. Out of the 30 years that I've been flying, there is no place that feels more like a second home than San Francisco. I know it like the back of my hand. I know all the streets, I know all the bars, the cafes, I know where's best to get lunch, I know where Harvey Milk got shot, where Jack Kerouac used to write all his books, yeah. When I get there, I get a coffee, I sit on the tram and I see the golden gates, sparkling in sunlight. I always leave a bit of my art here whenever I go home. I treat myself to some malted peanuts, and I get on a little bench by the bay. Sit there. There's Alcatraz just there and Angel Island just behind it, floating on the warm winds of the bay. Behind me there's an old man pushing a trolley. He's speaking in this he's muttering to himself in this broken down language. The trolley is filled with pots and pans and what looks like a rolled up pillowcase. His bed for the night, I suppose.
I tell Lorraine all this, and you know, I realise that BA have taught me something rather important, that the world, it is an enchanting place, but it's also repulsive. There is beauty in the world, you just need to know where not to look. I finished telling her about my time as a flight attendant, and I don't feel as nostalgic as what I thought I'd feel. Lorraine asks me if I'd like another coffee. Glenn, I might make some shortbread today. What do you think about that? Hello? Yes, it is. What? Really? I thought I missed all the spelling mistakes. Well, I do try to come across as somebody likeable. I can't thank you enough. Oh, okay. Okay. No problem. That's wonderful. Thanks again. Bye now. Bye. 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 A registrar. Glenn, sod the shortbread. Get that champagne open. It's August 2020. Lorraine's invited me round for a socially distanced glass of wine. Everyone says that now, don't they? Puts it at the end of the sentences. Socially distanced, of course, like you've just told everyone that you're meeting up with someone, but actually you try and keep away from them as much as possible. Lorraine's very welcoming. And she introduces me to her kids. She's got a very pretty daughter who goes to uni, like Caitlin. Caitlin says she's gonna see how this year goes at uni. But I don't really care. You know, as long as she's happy, that's all that matters, isn't it really? We sit in a garden and we get chatting, and a 10-year-old comes and brings us some stale brownies that he's made. At the bottom of Lorraine's garden, she's got this blossom tree. It's the only tree in her garden, but you know, it's all she needs. And it's gorgeous. And of course it makes me think of my mum and how she would go on and on and on about how much she loved the blossoms, how she loved the colour. But now I see it. I see it more this year than I've ever seen before. There's more beauty in that blossom tree than any place that I went to in the world. Lorraine says she's got me a present. Oh. I reply with the generic middle-aged mum answer, oh no. Oh, you shouldn't have. Oh, really? Oh, thank you. daughter that goes to uni comes and brings it out to me. It's a picture. It's a picture of a flight attendant kissing goodbye to a jumbo jet. The flight attendant is a glamorous blonde. I think it's supposed to be me. I turn to Lorraine and I don't know what to say. I get home and I put it in the living room so I can always see it. I take down a photo of Glenn when he was young. I hope you don't mind. Now it's time for another adventure. I show Caitlin. She says it's lovely. And I can't take my eyes off it. I suddenly feel this sense of pride. There is no place I wanted to be more this year than in front of that departures board at Terminal 5, just waiting for it to tell me where I'm going next. But now I don't need that departures board telling me where I'm going. I don't know where I'm going. No one bloody does. But well, I'm sure I'll get there someday. Back at the garden centre, I'm looking at this little bastard of a blossom tree. Shall we buy it? Asked Caitlin. No, we shouldn't. It won't fit in car. No. Well, where in the garden would we put that? No. Terrible idea. Caitlin! You and your father coming out and plant this bloody tree?
Come fly with me, let's fly away. If you can use some exotic booze, there's a bar in far Bombay. Come on and fly with me, let's fly away. Come fly with me, let's float down to Peru. In Llama Land there's a one-man band and he'll toot his flute for you. Come on, fly with me, let's take off in the blue.
My God, it went bad.
Where the air
Not a single thing in that interview went well. Was it done?
Oh, fuck me! Fuck me! Fuck's sake! Not one bit of that interview went right. It looked like you were at...
Remove the jacket from under your feet.
holding you so near.
Please do not deflate until you've let the air
You
go.
may hear all the angels cheer because we're together. Weatherwise, it's such a lovely day. Just say the words and we'll be
Just,
the
Jess,
birds
just stop,
down
just stop.
to Acapulco Bay. It is perfect for a flying honeymoon. They say